were expected to our own, see, understand. I have. I cannot.
For all three of you, how does even Hindu leadership, the top leadership, still fall prey to this false binary between Allah ka Islam and Mullah ka Islam? How can Hindu leadership say कि हाँ औरंगजेब बुरा था, लेकिन वो औरंगजेब बुरा था, वो जो डॉक्ट्राइन फॉलो कर रहा था वो बुरा नहीं है, उसको समझ में नहीं आया इस्लाम क्या है, लेकिन वो बुरा था. तो औरंगजेब को इस्लाम हमसे कम समझता है? Is that what Hindu leadership is saying?
I think that's a fantastic question. And as I said, I mean, of course I said it in jest, कि जैसे ही majority वाली government आएगी वैसे ही ये काम शुरू हो जाएगा. But the point is, Chef, Hindus, when you say you have to start, when can we frankly talk about Hindus gaining Shastra, what was the word that you used?
Kshatrotej.
Right, Kshatrotej. I think the Hindus gave that right to a government not once but twice with a majority. And I firmly believe that the monopoly of violence has to rest with the state. Otherwise there will be a civil war. There cannot be guns distribution amongst this thing. We will turn into a macabre land like America is. But I'll tell you what also needs to happen. This government needs to wake up. On the first day when it was elected in 2014, it should have made arrangements, Israel-like arrangements for the 7 lakh Kashmiri Pandits to go and take back their home. That sends a message. When Nupur is threatened with beheading from the top of mosque by hundreds of thousands of people pouring onto the streets, this government has to say, what has she done except quote from the hadiths? That sends a message. You do not send a message by ignoring what is happening on the ground. You send a message that, look, you do some hanky-panky and we are going to be after you, just like Dada said. Everything is in the constitution. Every provision to act just but act strong is in the constitution, is provided for. When you don't use it, don't blame it on the Hindu population that have voted the government twice over. You have to blame the government for not acting. It is like Narasimha Rao said, to not take a decision is also to take a decision. उसी में लगे हुए हैं कि नहीं decision नहीं लेंगे. And there are so many examples like that. Dada recounted 4 of them. You have a majority, yet you repeal all those laws. You have a majority, yet you go back on your word. When you constantly do that, at not only the political level, at the society level, when you are quiet about what has happened to the Palghar Sadhus, as you mentioned, when Mr. Modi, and today they have dug out his tweet, where he talked about the killing. He condemned the killing of BJP Karyakartas. Only once he's done it in 8 years, and those were 3 Muslim BJP Karyakartas. So a lot of BJP supporters are very justifiably very angry. That Shefali mentioned what has happened in Karnataka in BJYM. When you don't do that, these are simple steps. You're not even going out and asking for a extra cess. वो भी दे देंगे. You know, सब जगह cess दे रहे हैं, वो भी दे देंगे. But do what you're elected for. Zero appeasement and bring justice. That is all you're asking. Not for street violence, not for taking law into your own hands, not for anything else. But dispense justice.
I think there is a fundamental misreading of the mandate by the government. I don't think it's been voted for development. It's been voted for protection. And I say this not because I come from an affluent family, I don't. I've climbed up the hard way like any other middle class family of the 90s of Bharat, which has lived through the license permit Raj. But the point is, despite the license permit Raj, this society was able to create wealth. And once the fetters were removed, we ran, because we have always been fantastic at generating wealth. So we are not looking at the government for creation of wealth, but for circumstances which ensure that we have the ability to pursue the dream and which protects that investment as opposed to creating a bullet train only to be brought down by stone pelters. Now, therefore, my position is that something happens the moment someone goes to power. They become centrists. And this is something that I've captured excellently, even if I say so myself, ki the moment power comes to your hand, what happens? Sub. Karo, okay, sub. How can a government be partisan? I don't have a problem. You can still deliver the mandate and still take others along, but by keeping your priorities clear. वहां से तो वोट आना ही नहीं है. I've said this any number of times. You can be fundamentally mercenary and ruthless and cynical about your political calculations. But even politically it doesn't make sense because you're not going to get anything from there. And with changing demographic balance in the coming years and decades, you are going to be a dispensable rag. And people from Hyderabad will take over. From the old city of
Normally, I would never, interrupt someone as erudite as Sai, but I must because I want to buttress the point that he made, that the mandate has to be protection. And I'll tell you, please go and watch this video in the aftermath or in the wake of the Jahangir Puri recent riots in Delhi. There's an NDTV video, please watch it before they take it down. They are asking those Hindus on the streets, and you know what they're saying? बिजली ले लो हमसे, हमें बिजली मुफ्त नहीं चाहिए, हमें पानी नहीं चाहिए, हमें योगी दो, ये बचाओ हमारा. हम फ्री पानी और फ्री बिजली का क्या करेंगे? हम घर से बाहर नहीं निकल सकते, हमारे घर पे सब वार हो रहा है. हमें तो that is, you need law and order before you need all the other amenities. You're absolutely right.
So my only suggestion would be that at least आप विश्वगुरु के जो सपने हैं अभी के लिए रख दीजिए साइड में. कतार से तो आपका निपटना नहीं होता है. I've supported the government's position with respect to China. Brilliant. You've built infrastructure there. Finally, you've done that. So this is not an attempt to bring down the good work that they've done. But the job here is not to constantly clap when you do something right, but also to say more is expected of you, because unfortunately, we are lagging behind others when it comes to protection. So fortunately or unfortunately, you're the only hope that we have. We can't see anybody else on the horizon. So please don't take advantage of that and don't take us for granted.
Dada.
I agree that it is the duty of the state, and the state has that kind of power to protect people. शिफाली जी जो अलग प्रश्न पूछा है बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. ये जो अल्लाह का इस्लाम और मुल्ला का इस्लाम है ना, ये तकिया है, डिसेप्शन है. हाँ, वो एक मुल्ला ने कहा है कि इस्लाम ये अक्ल की बात नहीं है, नकल की बात है. हाँ, अभी मैं एक हिस्ट्री का एग्जाम्पल आपको देता हूँ. पूरे 1000 साल में इस देश में इतने इस्लामी शासक हुए, जो आपने कहा ना कि रिफॉर्म नहीं तो कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता है, तो सब ने ये सब चीज़ें किए. दे हैड द रिलीजियस टैक्सेस, जिजिया है, खराज है, टेम्पल डिस्ट्रक्शन है, ये सब कॉमन. जैसे मैंने पहले लिस्ट जो बताई, स्त्रियों के साथ किस प्रकार का बर्ताव क्या है, पूरे इतिहास में सब लोगों ने गुलाम करके बेचा है, कत्ले आम की है, धर्मांतर की है. अब इसमें 3.5 लोग का एक्सेप्शन है. एक कश्मीर में जैनुल अबादीन करके, तो उसने हिंदुओं के साथ बहुत अच्छा बर्ताव किया. वो हिंदुओं के तीर्थ क्षेत्र पे भी जाता था. उन्होंने हिंदुओं को कह दिया कि हमारे लोगों ने जो आपको मुसलमान बनाया, आप वापस हिंदू हो जाओ. दूसरा उदाहरण है उत्तरकालीन अकबर. तीसरा है इब्राहिम आदिल शाह बीजापुर का. वो तो सरस्वती और गणपति की स्मरण से ही पत्र लिखता था. और मैंने 3.5 कहा कि तो दारा शिको सुल्तान बन नहीं सका. हाँ? अब ये 3.5 लोग, ये इस्लाम का मानवतावादी चेहरा है क्या? नहीं, ये इस्लाम से दूर गए, दूर चले गए, दे वर अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ हिंदुइज्म एंड जैनिज्म. देयर इज एविडेंस, हिस्टोरिकल एविडेंस. वो दे आर नॉट द ह्यूमैनिटेरियन फेस ऑफ इस्लाम, क्यों तो इस्लाम को ह्यूमैनिटेरियन फेस ही नहीं है. अब दूसरी बात, औरंगजेब की इतनी सही बात है कि
अब निकलता हूं
औरंगजेब, उसका व्यक्तिगत क्रौर्य नहीं है. वो जिस धर्म से जुड़ा हुआ है उस धर्म को उस प्रामाणिक रीति से विथ ऑनेस्टी इज ट्राइंग टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट. तो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. ये इसलिए क्या होता है कि हम घूर फिर के जाते हैं इधर से उधर से. हम जो एलिफेंट इन द रूम है ना, उसको छोड़ देते हैं और ये चलते रहता है कि उनका डीएनए और हमारा डीएनए एक है. वो अभी कोविड का वायरस है, उसका भी अपना डीएनए एक है. हाँ, तो बायोलॉजिकल डीएनए का नहीं बात है, एक कल्चरल डीएनए की बात है, सिविलाइजेशनल डीएनए की बात है. एंड इसीलिए हमको हमारा हिंदू डीएनए को बचाना पड़ेगा बाय ऑल मीन्स.